May I confirm YouTube channel is live?
Okay, YouTube. Okay, YouTube. So I could be on YouTube then. Is that what we're saying here? Oh, I see. What? All right. So at this point, is everyone there?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Well, we'll go ahead and open up the agenda. Baldwin Park City Council special meeting. Today's May 6th, 2020. The time is 5:11. So at this point, I will go ahead and ask the city clerk to take roll call.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Alejandra Avila,
Here.
Councilmember Monica Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco,
Okay, go ahead.
Mayor Pro Tem Paul Hernandez,
Connected.
I'm here and I'm connected apparently.
thank you, and Mayor Emmanuel Lozano.
Present. Okay, at this point, I will now make a motion to excuse Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco. That is my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Hernandez. At this point, do we need roll call? No?
We can, if you'd like.
Let's go ahead and do the roll call. Go ahead.
Councilmember Alejandra Avila,
Here. We did that.
we're actually excusing Councilmember Pacheco, so we're taking a roll call. Councilmember Monica Garcia,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Paul Hernandez,
Present.
Okay, this is going.
and Mayor Lozano.
Yes. All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much, everyone. So at this point, we let me have the agenda. What's the? Okay, hold on. All right. So at this point, when I go ahead and we have open session, which is the fiscal year 2019-20 budget update by Rose Tran. Also recessed to close session. Number one is conference with labor negotiator pursuant to government code section 54957.6. We also have item 2, which is a conference with legal counsel existing litigation. Item 3, real property negotiation pursuant to government code 54956.8. Those are the only items that we have. So at this point, do we have anything for? We're going to go into the open session, which is of course the 2019-20 budget update. So at this point, go ahead and give the mic over to Mr. Shannon Yahtzee.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. And we did talk about the budget a couple weeks ago. We've been trying to do cuts. Unfortunately, revenues are also still sinking. So there's not a lot of good news on the horizon. Rose is going to update you where we're at with the end of the year budget. And then she's going to also talk about what the preliminary numbers look like for the next year's budget, the 2021 budget. Staff are going to be working on that to bring you something in June and to reduce those deficits that you'll see here in a minute. Rose Tam?
Hi, Rose. Is Rose there?
Uh-oh. Hi, good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I was talking. I thought everybody can hear me. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and City Council. Staff, as Shannon mentioned, staff was directed to come back with the updated budget to find ways to reduce the projected deficit due to the big financial impact from COVID-19. The E-team has been working very hard to look into areas for expenditures, cuts, and savings. However, since there are less than 2 months remaining in the current fiscal year and about 80% of the expenditure incurred. And next slide, please. As you may see, and the total expenditure cut is about 192,000, and also, with the current trends, we projected further decrease in revenue in the amount of 118,000, which give us the net savings or cuts in the amount of 73,043.6 dollars. That brings us to 3.8 million deficit for fiscal year ending June 30, 2020. And as Shannon mentioned, staff is continue working together to reduce expenditures and cut programs that are not essential in the coming new fiscal year 2020-21 to fill the deficit, which will be presented to you in the first meeting in June. May I have the next slide, please? And this slide will give you a little bit more details about the revenue and transfer in and total revenue and expenditure transfer out, and give you the ending deficit of 3.8 million as shown in the first slide in the summary. And does anybody have any question before I go to the next slide?
Rose,
Yes.
can you tell me where some of the cuts were made? What areas?
Yes. And the cuts and mainly from all departments' contribution. For example, and since the COVID-19, and we cancel all the conference that some staff is going to attend. Then we cut some miscellaneous expenditures. We also postponed the PA system in the council chamber, which is about 20,000. And we cut something in miscellaneous repair and maintenance that is not urgent. And also, the main reduction here you see is from the community services due to lots of programs, events, closures, and also about $50,000 savings from the part-timers, which bring us about $192,000 in saving.
Okay, so $50,000 from the part-time employees.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Just for the next
month or so.
about 2 months,
Mhm.
from May to June.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Any more questions? And the decrease in revenues, as I mentioned before, is mainly due to less construction permits, pool, and fees coming to the city. If no questions, we can go to the next slide. So with that, and you may see our general fund reserve will be reduced to 5.3 million from the 9.4 million, which we just finished the 2018 and 19 fiscal year audit. We are going to present the CAFR to you in a regular meeting and to show you how we come up and get increase from 8.4 million to 9.4 million later on. Any questions? If no, we can go to the next slide. And I was also asked to do a preliminary, a projection for the 2020 and 21. And I came up a rough estimate of the 2020 revenue in the amount of 27.7 million. The decrease is mainly from the cannabis permits that we projected we might only receive 5 permits mitigation fees instead of 16 permits based on the current trend. In addition to the COVID-19 impact to the city, we believe the impact is still going to last for the first quarter in the new coming fiscal year. And if that's the case, even we cut 10% in expenditures, it will still leave us deficit in the amount of 3 million.
Rose,
Yes,
sorry, I wasn't able to chime in on the last slide. Can you
Yes.
tell us what the reserve fund was, or in 2009 or in 2010?
2009. Oh, you mean 2019?
No, 2009 or 2010. That was after the last big recession that we had.
Oh, at that time, I'm sorry, we don't have that bar chart up there. And during that recession, right before the recession, we took a proactive action, and the city had a 2 years golden handshake in 2017. Therefore, we did not have a huge impact on the reserve fund, as you
Rose.
may see.
Rose, I think you mean 2007.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes. Oh, did I say 2017?
Yes.
I mean 2007. I apologize for that. So as you may see, even comes to 2011, the city still remain 5.9 in general fund reserve because we took a proactive action in 2017. I'm against, I apologize, 2007.
Thank you.
So in order for the city to balance the budget, we might have to take 19% cut to balance the budget.
Do you know where we're taking that 19% reduction?
We have to come together and work with all the departments and come up with a solution. Also, we are going to take a direction from the city council, and all the department will come up with some solutions and present it to you and see if all the city council agree to cut those programs. We also we are also going to reduce all the expenditures that are not essential, and also reduce, for example, repair or maintenance that is not urgent. However, 19% is kind of a large, huge amount that we have to work really hard to come up with that number. It is about $6 million cut from the original 34 million in expenditure. The original adopted budget for current fiscal year is 34 million. Any more questions?
That was the end of the presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
I just came back with some updates from the last budget projection on April 15.
Okay. So I do have a question.
Yes.
So it seems like every time, I remember every time we have budget problems in the economy, there's something going on. We always seem to furlough people or lay off because it's what we need to do in order for us to maintain our budget. And those that usually get the short end of the stick are part-time employees that most of them don't make over $10,000 a year because, like I said, they are part-time employees. My question to you, Rose, is what would it look like if you look at all levels of management and give them a temporary 5 to 10% reduction in pay, and it will be temporary? What would be the savings in that? Can you look at that information for me, Rose, please?
Yes. After tonight's meeting, I'm going to work on that number and provide you the projection or the number by the end of tomorrow. Is that okay?
That would be fine. So again, it would be all levels of management, a temporary 5 to 10% reduction. So if
Okay.
you can give me those numbers and what would the savings be?
Yes, I will
Okay.
provide you that number with 5% and 10% and
Okay.
email it to you and all the city council by the end of tomorrow.
Okay, I just would like to see what that looks like, since like I said, we always lay off our part-time employees, and those are the ones that seem to be hurting the most. So let's look at that for right now. Thank you, Rose.
You're welcome.
Also, I have another question, but I guess I can ask this at the regular meeting. You will be there.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
So yeah, if there's no other questions, we just kind of wanted to give you a snapshot of where we're at. Again, it's not good news. The directors will all be working over the next few weeks on that 19% budget cuts, and we'll be bringing that back to the city council in June for direction. And then hopefully we will be able to have our first budget hearing the second meeting in June, and that's sort of the plan. But we will be working hard on all of these ideas and any other ideas this council might want to provide us.
Yeah, let me, can everyone hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, I was here when we implemented the one in 2007 because of the recession. We didn't do any work furloughs. We didn't lay anyone off. Monica, I think you were part of it at that time. Am I correct? Well, we had to take drastic action. So we need to make certain that every director across the board look at potential cutbacks. It is important for us to do that. We just simply have to make way because, of course, this COVID, no one predicted what's going on here. And Ballpark Park's not the only city that's suffering this economic downfall. And we know the neighboring cities and so on and so forth. So all the directors need to really look at their budget, look at areas that they could cut back and bring them back to the table. And if it means that we have to RIF people, then we're going to have to do it. You have to apply some of the private sector ideology when it comes to trying to balance the budget here for the city of Baldwin Park. So everyone, please, just going to encourage you that you come back with something meaningful that we could do that won't impact the community as a whole. Hello?
We will work on that. Yes, we will work on that and bring it back very soon.
All righty. Okay, anyone else? All right, if not, we'll go ahead and at this point, we're going to adjourn into closed session.
And so what we'll need to do is log off of this meeting, and those that were taking part in closed session will need to log on again with the new meeting notice, the secure closed session meeting notice.
Thank you. Before we go there, we forgot to open up the public communication, so I will ask the city clerk if we had anyone that sent in any type of communications to be shared.
No,
Madam City Clerk?
no
Ms. Gina Ayala.
communication. No communication was received.
Okay, so no.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Vice Mayor Hernandez. Yes, sir.
Sorry about that. I'm just having some technical difficulties on my end over here. Rose, as you look at, and same with Shannon, as we look at, potential reductions in salary, temporary salaries, can we look at what a sliding scale looks like? So my thing, my view is if everyone's going to get a haircut, those that obviously make a little bit more, may be able to, could certainly afford a 10% or 5% pay cut. While those that are, if they're working part-time, and they make only $40,000 or $50,000, whatever that threshold is that council could decide, maybe their trim is a little bit closer to 2 or 3%, because the reality is, taking 5% off of 50,000, it's not much. It won't solve anything. And if anything, it'll, as Councilmember Alejandra Avila spoke to earlier, those individuals may be impacted unfairly. So if we can just kind of look at that as we look at all options, including as what the mayor just mentioned earlier. Thank you.
Alrighty, so just to reiterate as well, want to make sure every department looks at, if we are duplicating certain areas, we're going to need you to make sure you make those tough decisions as well. 2007, we had the assistant to the assistant of the assistant. That's the way it operated here. We made major cuts that were tough, but ultimately, at the end of the day, let's remember, it's the taxpayers and the residents that are out there that we have to respond to. So that message is for all the directors.
Thank you, and we will do that.
Thank you. Alrighty, so at this point, the city clerk, Jean M. Ayala, stated that there was no public communication information sent to the closed session. So at this point, we're going to recess the closed session. Excuse me, we're going to go into closed session. So at this point, Madam City Clerk, we're going to have to vacate.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and let everyone know. So we're going to log out of here and go into the other meeting, right? So.
Thank you.
That's correct. Thank you.
All right, thank you.